C# app used to be boring, grey boxes, jagged borders, and zero personality. But today, we are changing that. You guys requested a deep dive into modern design, shadows, glassmorphism, and clickable cards. To do that, we are switching to Avalonia UI. I'm going to show you how to build this premium discovery dashboard that feels more like a macOS app than a legacy Windows tool. My name is Ronak, and you're watching VectoArt. And for those who haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. It means a lot. It motivates me to create more such videos. Now, to create this app, I have opened Visual Studio 2026 and let's click on create a new project. Let's select mvvm.net app of by Avalonia. If you do not have these templates, please check out my previous video. I will leave a link in the description where I have talked about how to install Avalonia in Visual Studio. So I'll select this and go to next. Give this project a name. I'll call this book discovery and click on next. I'll select the framework as .NET 8.0 and the MVVM toolkit as community toolkit and click on create. Now that our application is loaded, let me just go ahead and build this just to show you the Avalonia designer, which you can also have by installing an extension. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, you will find that I have explained how to install this extension and how to make use of this designer while you code. So moving ahead, let's start first by designing our model. So here on the Solution Explorer, let's go and add a class called books. And within this books class, I have, you can see if you can see, it is inheriting the observable object, and this will help us to monitor all of these properties and update them in real time. So here you can see it has a title property, author, category, a cover URL, rating, and price, and all the properties that are required for a book. So I have added those. So once that is done, let's go ahead and make changes in the view model so that we can make use of these new book class that we created. So in our view model, I will go ahead and paste in the code that I have already created for this main view model. So I will go ahead and copy and paste it over here. And here you can see I am making use of the book class to populate the properties of this book class in this view model. And here you can see I have created 3 new books, and it also has a cover URL. And this cover URL has the image URL of the books. So these images are at the moment not present in the assets folder. So I'll just go ahead and add an existing item and go to my downloads, and I'll just go ahead and select these 3 images that I have. So I'll just go ahead and select these and add them to our assets. Once that is done, now the next step is to see, just build this. I think there should be an error, and that would be this text block, because it was bound to a greetings property which does not exist in our main view model. So I'll just go ahead and remove this, save this. So now we have our model and our view model updated. Next, I'll go to my Solution Explorer and go and add a new item, and that would be our user control. So I'll just select that and call this user control book card. So let's do that and click on add. So our user control is loaded. So before we make changes to our UI, let's include all of the namespaces. So to do that, I will go to the code that I have already written. I'll just um, paste in the code. Just it makes it easier for me because otherwise the video will be much more lengthy. So I have included the model that I've created, and also I want to include the data type. So I will also set the data type to model.books. So let me do that. So I'll just put it in the next line. So that's done. So now I'll remove this default text that comes with Avalonia. When you create a project, I'll remove that. Now I will go in and create the UI for our user control. So I will first paste in the main user element, which is the border, and within this border we have set various properties like margin, corner, radius, which are the basics. I've also created a multi-layer shadow for depth, and which is using this border.box shadow, and I'm creating a box shadow within it. And then within our grid, I have created 2 areas. One is for the book cover and one is the content area. The book cover basically displays the image and some glass morphism badges, which is over here, which are some acrylic borders that I have applied to this. And it also has this text block which is bound to the category of the book. So basically on the cover of the book there is a small pill on the top which will display this category of this book. So to do that, I have applied this glass morphism badge, so that it is kind of transparent, so that the book cover is not completely lost, and this small pill is overlaid over the book cover. So that is the purpose of this. And here I have this image, and this image is bound to the cover URL property of the book class, and it is set in our main view model. And I have also added a converter called string to bitmap converter, for which I have to create a class now. So I will go ahead and first create a folder here, and I will add a new folder called converters. And within our converters I will create a class, and let's call this class string to bitmap converter. And this string to bitmap converter, let me paste in the code first so that it'll be easier to explain. So this string to bitmap converter will help me convert back a URL into a bitmap image. So it has two functions. One is convert and the other is the convert back. So it will basically, when we pass the URL to this, that is the cover URL, it will convert the URL into a bitmap image. Basically, it will fetch the image from that assets folder and convert it into a bitmap object, and that object will be applied to this image source. Otherwise the image won't load. So that is why I am using a converter. And now to use this static resource I have to first apply the namespace. So let me go ahead and add the namespace first for the converter, which is after my models. And also I will use the user control resource to include this converter as a resource in within our user control. So let me save this, and let me try to rebuild this and see if the user control loads. I do not see any errors, as you can see, and the user control has loaded successfully as well. And here you can see there is a small pill which has this transparent background, which will basically show the cover image when I basically apply or run this application. So that we will do it later. Now that we have covered the resources, next we will apply the styles to our user control. So I will copy in the code for the styles, and after our resources I will just paste in the styles. And this styles are basically transitions for smooth hover effects and a pop animation when you hover over the user control. As you can see over here, it basically pops. So to create this smooth animation, we are creating these transitions, and these are transitions that are applied on the user control. So that is the styles that we talked about. And basically that's how we create the pop effect. And one reason I love Avalonia is the styling system. It feels like CSS. We aren't hard coding any values in every button. We are using styles and selectors, and that's how we create a pop effect and one line of code. And the card scales up smoothly using Avalonia's built-in transitions. So no complex animations or storyboards required. So now that our user control is ready, it's time for us to move to our main window and implement this user control. So first things first, let's start by including the namespaces. So the first thing is the view models and the models. So I will go ahead and copy the namespaces and paste it over here. So once that is done, next is to copy the data context. So right now it is set to the main view model, which is exactly right. The next point is to display a responsive list of book cards, and which is bound to our view model of book collection. So we have our controls over here, and right now it is showing an error because I have not included a namespace. So let me rebuild this once just to rule out any errors if I have done so. And as you can see, I have forgot to add this namespace. So I will go ahead and add this namespace. And once that is done, I believe the error for the controls book card is gone. So let me go ahead and rebuild this again and see if our designer loads the book card. So here you can see our designer has now loaded the user control, and you can see this subtle animations with this pop effect on hover of each of the card, and all of the data that is within our view models, which is set in our data context, is fetched and populated in our user control. So here you can see at the bottom we have a scroll viewer, and which has this vertical and horizontal scroll set to auto and padding to 16. And then we have our items control, which is basically set whose item source is set to this books binding, and within that we have the items control and the data template set to controls which is of type book discovery on this user control that we have created. So uh, so now that is how we turned one card that we created, our user control, into a list by using the item control. We defined our book card once in our data template, and then we loop our C# observable collection. Whether you have 3 books or 300 books, the UI remains responsive and beautiful. And this is where MVVM meets modern design. So now everything is set. I just have to build this application once again. Because Avalonia uses this key sharp rendering engine, these shadows and blurs don't lag. It's GPU accelerated and pixel perfect. We have fulfilled the viewer request by advanced cards creation, clickable states, and data looping in this video, all in one clean project. So you can grab this code from GitHub. I will leave a link to my GitHub repository in the video link description. And let's start making C Sharp apps beautiful again. Hope you all liked watching this video. If you do, please give this video a thumbs up, and let me know in the comments. Next week we are going to deep dive into AI agents. So what next topic that you want to explore, please do write in the comments. I would love that, and I will definitely try to make a video on it. So please subscribe and keep building.